Good afternoon, Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. I am Reverend Cindy Grimes, and I am so excited to have you join us today. We've got some awesome guests. We have Reverend Cliff Rubin and his beautiful wife, Ashley Fuller Rubin, who is going to join us later on in our broadcast. But for now, I want to tell you a little bit about who we are, especially for any of our first-time visitors. We here at the Center for Spiritual Living have these values, and number one in our values is spiritual growth and practice. That's the whole reason we exist and why we come together, is so that we can grow spiritually. We value love, we value appreciation and community, we value freedom, creativity, health and wholeness, and we value generosity and financial well-being. Our mission at Center for Spiritual Living Ocala is the same as the mission of the larger organization, and that is to provide spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. Our purpose is to awaken humanity to its spiritual magnificence, and our vision is a world that works for all. And that is what we are here to create. That's why we exist, and that's why I do what I do. So before we bring in our guests, I am going to share a beautiful prayer that I received this week through our ministers listserv from the amazing Reverend Cynthia James. And so I'm just going to invite you to take a nice deep breath and be present in this moment, here and now. As I share these beautiful words for you, take another nice deep breath and close your eyes if you feel comfortable doing that. And if not, just find something to look at and kind of have a nice soft gaze. And so we take this moment to step into soulful introspection, honoring the truth of one power, one life, and a divine intelligence radiating in all, as all, and through all. We give thanks for the breath of God that is breathing us and take this moment to rest in the arms of the divine. I know this energy is my life. It is the life of all connecting to this message. We are each here as manifestations of the divine on this planet to reveal truth and to reveal majesty. So take this moment to move away from all distractions that would move our attention away from this eternal life. We recognize the challenges expressing in our lives and on this planet, and we turn our attention to the goodness that exists. We turn our backs on appearances and circumstances that focus on separation or division. So we bless the fear, bless the doubt, bless the turmoil, bless the chaos, bless the confusion, bless the conflict, because we know nothing opposes God. Nothing is opposing us. Nothing can stop the divine unfolding of our potential being fulfilled. Therefore, we stand as a place of united consciousness. From here, we ask, what is the underlying good that is coming out of this moment in this time? What is the calling of this moment? How are we each to be beneficial participants of evolving life itself? In this moment, we hold fast to the truth of love and light in every experience, every circumstance, every situation. We lean into peace, love, creativity, freedom, generosity, and light, all things working together for the common good. I give thanks that this prayer is being seeded in the universe as we lift all people, every man, woman, and child. We lift up our Black brothers and sisters. We lift all women. We lift all LGBTQ brothers and sisters. We lift all Native Americans and Indigenous brothers and sisters. We lift all Caucasian brothers and sisters. We lift all Asian brothers and sisters. We lift all Latino brothers and sisters. We claim and proclaim leaving a legacy of love, expansion, freedom, power, generosity, wholeness, and oneness for all. And from this place of gratitude, I give thanks. I give thanks for this day. I give thanks for the words that are to be spoken here, and knowing that what needs to be said is said, what needs to be heard is heard, and that minds are open and hearts are opened and lives change because we come together. And so I gently and release this loving prayer, knowing that it is already moving into the formless, from the formless into form, and knowing how good it is to know that love prevails. I let this go, I trust the divine, and I allow it to be. And so it is. So it is. Woo, that was an amazing prayer from the amazing Cynthia James, and just have a treasure trove of people in this organization that are just amazing lights and amazing beings. And we have two of them joining us this afternoon, and I'm so excited. Reverend Cliff Rubin and I met while we were in the ministerial program. And Cliff has an interesting background. I'm hoping he will share some of that as a fellow New Yorker who transplanted to Asheville, North Carolina, where he was trained by the Waterhouse couple. And he met beautiful Ashley while we were in the ministerial program. So I got to see Cliff before Ashley and after Ashley. Ashley is an amazing light all among herself. She's a life coach. She's so many things. And I can't find her bio, but I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about herself. She's an actress, she's a singer, she is a religious science practitioner, and she is also in the ministerial program. So we're going to talk about life, we're going to talk about ministry and marriage and all kinds of fun things today, and I'm going to invite them both in to join us in this live stream. Here they are. Hello, hello.
Hi.
I'm so excited to have you with us. Isn't it awesome? We've got this technology that you guys can be in California, in Burbank, and I can be in Ocala, Florida, and here we are hanging out.
Here we are hanging out.
Here we are hanging out. And you guys just had service?
Yes.
Yes, yes. So tell us a little bit about your setup, because we know what we're about in Florida, in Ocala, but what I don't know your congregation. What is your group like?
What is our group like? They are wonderful. They're a beautiful light, beautiful lights. We have a very solid group that shows up every week. While we've been online, it's been very supportive of the, keeping our congregation going. And continually, what we focus on is knowing the truth during these times, knowing the highest and best right here, right now, while it can look like there's all these horrible things going on, and yet we have to know that it's all for good, that there's something going on here that's actually going to be birthed that is, beyond what we can imagine. And that, I was talking today about how thrilled I am to be alive during these times. Ash, what's our congregation like for you?
Oh, they're beautiful, beautiful congregation, and we're doing our services on Zoom right now, and many of them we have an older population, and so the technology has been a little bit of a challenge, but each week more people are coming on, and they keep showing up on Zoom, and it's really wonderful. I just feel it is incredible to what you said at the beginning, Reverend Cindy, about how blessed we are to have the technology to come together like this. It's really awesome.
Super cool. So I wasn't sure if you guys were meeting in person yet or not, but you're also still online just like we are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Inviting you from where we were was a push of a button.
Yeah, it's so cool. So awesome. So let the group know a little bit about how you guys met, because I know that was a little bit different than you talking about technology and stuff.
Yeah. Well, why don't you start, honey? Because you just told this story.
It's actually part of my talk for today.
Really?
Yeah.
There are no coincidences,
right?
No coincidence. So I had, after my last divorce, I woodshedded myself in a cabin in the woods for 2 years Now, I've been divorced 3 times. And so, and I thought, this is I really need to heal something here. I do not want to repeat this again. So as I say, I took a cabin in the woods. I was alone, me and my dog, for 2 solid years before I decided it was time for me to start dating again. And so I started by going on all these dating websites, and had over 30 first dates, and decided, you know what, this isn't working. So I put it aside and said, I'm just going to know that the perfect and right woman for me is going to show up at the perfect and right time. And so one day on Facebook, my wife decides to put up a video of her speaking incredibly vulnerably. And then 5 minutes later decides that's too vulnerable and pulls it down. Well, in those 5 minutes, I happened to go online and that video went through my feed. And I saw this video and I was just like, oh my God, this woman is so vulnerable on Facebook. I got to know more about who she is. So I went to her page, and on her page, she's sitting, there's a picture of her sitting on a beach, and the caption reads, "Look how beautiful the beach is." And all I could think was, oh my God, she's way prettier than the beach. And so I'm actually a shy guy when it comes to women. And so this was very unusual for me to reach out and send her a message that said, "You're way more prettier than the beach." Yeah, and in less than 60 seconds, she messaged me back. And from there, we just grew this incredible relationship. We've been together 6 years, almost 7.
Mm-hmm. And it was a journey of self-love, really, for me, because I had I never thought I would find love like what I have now, but I did embark upon a journey of self-love, and I got to a point where I was like, oh my gosh, my life is really wonderful. I sort of woke up to what I already had in my life, because I was feeling a lack before. And I just looked around and I could see all the beauty in my life, community, friends. And I had finally come to that place where it clicked. I was really accepting who I was and loving myself, not perfectly, but really embracing who I was. And I announced to the universe, I said, all right, I'm done looking for love. I know he's out there, but he's going to have to land in my lap. So that message that he sent me, wouldn't you know, I was sitting there on my couch with my laptop in my lap. This is where, knowing the divine has such a great sense of humor. There I was, got this message while my laptop was in my lap. And I read it, and I had noticed Cliff on in the things that he was posting before, and just really loved what he had to say. And I was like, gosh, we're so similar. We say a lot of the same things. We use a lot of exclamation points when we talk and when we write. And so he getting this message, and up to that point, I've just been like, no, to different people who'd asked me out. But him, I had the internal feeling of I think this might be the guy. So I did respond really quickly. And I was like, hi, I've really enjoyed your posts online. So he messages me back with the best line. Would you like to meet me in my online sanctuary? Okay, I don't know what that means. So this was the beginnings of Yana. And I popped into the sanctuary he was building with a company at that point to create an online ministry. And we had our first video conversation. He was in Ohio. I was here in Los Angeles. And as you said, the rest is history. Thank goodness for technology, right? All that's possible.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And how we met on one of the ministerial cruises. That was how we got to meet you and got to know you and knew that we had some things in common as well.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And that was just a few months later
Mhm.
when we were on that cruise with you and got to hear your gorgeous singing. Oh my goodness. I hope you sing for your congregation.
I sing once in a while. Yeah,
Oh, good.
I do sing.
So,
Yeah.
Cindy, I've now heard you say several times that you've seen me before I met Ash and after. I keep wondering what
What was the difference?
Yeah,
What was the difference?
yeah.
Well, when Ashley was on the trip, you were lit up. You were radiating there was so much happiness. There was just,
Oh.
not to say you weren't happy before that, but there was just a lightness about you, really. You were in love. I mean, you know how people are when they're in love. You could see it, you feel it, you were just glowing. It was beautiful. And it's just beautiful to see you two together.
Oh,
Love
thank
this.
you.
So I told you what my the theme is for the year is really about enlightenment, and the idea that enlightenment is about letting go of all those false beliefs and things that no longer serve us. We know that we're kind of making it all up as we go along anyway, right? What we believe is the life that we live. And so, did you have to overcome any BS to be able to even be in the relationship that you're in? I mean, that's it's a little different how you guys met and connected and all.
That was why I spent 2 years in the woods. I knew I must have been full of BS to have 3 divorces. I mean, I was very clear that it was me, not the women. And I needed to heal that and find out, and go through all the different things in me that I needed to heal. It took 2 years before I felt ready to feel like I was a different person coming out. And what Ash brought up, self-love. And that was a big part of it, was clearly I was playing out on these women who were my wives, that, my own self-hatred, and blaming them for it. So that story had to go. Talk about BS. Here these women loved me, and I kept treating them like they didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's something I definitely needed to overcome. Overcome the idea that I wasn't supported in life. Clearly something I recognized I was carrying around, even though it was so clear. The funniest part is so many times we carry around stories when right before our very eyes is the contradictory to that story.
Mm-hmm.
A quick story so it was clear I had to get out of the living situation I was in, because my wife at the time and I were separating, and I had no job and no money. And so how was I going to move out? And all of a sudden there's an ad in the paper for somebody to work on fixing up a cabin in the woods in trade for living there.
Nice.
The exact day I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
And I went out there, and me and the landlord hit it off and gave it to me that day.
Nice.
And yet I walked around with the idea that I was unsupported, even with that happening right before my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to come to grips with that, that and many other things. Ash, what do you want to share about your BS?
Oh gosh, so much BS that I had to get through.
Wading through all the
Right, wading through. And really I see it, just like we're on this beautiful divine journey. I was just talking about this earlier, the lotus flower, right? We're continuing to unfold and be more and more of who we are, and love being at our core, right? So the one thing I already mentioned was really releasing all the ideas that I wasn't enough for love, that I had been a failure in love and would just repeat that, and the idea that it just wasn't possible for me. I had to really do a lot of my own work, like Cliff was doing his own work before I could really, to prepare myself for what I really deeply desired. And the first thing was letting go of non-possibility. That was huge for me. And so that I could stand in a place of possibility for these desires to manifest. And I think also releasing doubts was so huge and important. And I think, tucked away, there was this idea like, I can't have it all. I need to choose. It's either going to be, I'm going to be, having a great career, or be totally focused on my kids and being mom, or I would get to have this love relationship, but somewhere something would miss out. And what releasing that did for me was actually amplify the goodness in every other area. And actually, I feel like I've become more of myself in our relationship than I ever could be on my own. My relationships with my daughters are thriving. And when I hear people talk about their teenage girls, moms in particular, and how difficult that is, I don't even know what that's about, because I've had such a beautiful journey with my daughters. And that was with them having to adapt to Cliff being in my life. And the other areas of my life, being in ministerial school, my career, these things are just blossoming. So letting go of the idea that I can't have it all, I can't, have all these desires within me met and fulfilled is just not true. And I've come to realize for myself, like, these desires that we have, these are life's desires. This is spirit wanting us to fulfill on these. So of course we get to have these fulfilled upon. Yeah. And the other thing.
It's beautiful. What I was going to say, and then I lost my train of thought instantly. Go ahead, finish up, and then I'll come back to me.
Okay. All right. The other thing I was going to say is that, there's all the preparation you can do, right, when you're single and on your own. And then there's stuff that only gets healed or revealed in relationship, right? That it can only be healed in relationship with a partner. And one of those things was I had an idea, like, I had to have really strong boundaries and be, sort of guarded and make sure I wasn't sort of, I wouldn't get lost in the relationship. And I really healed the part of me that felt like she had to be guarded in order to be sovereign, essentially, which actually was not the case. So let go of that too, and life is so much sweeter.
Yes. What I was going to say was that the letting go gets easier, right? Like, the more you do it, you leap and the net appears, and it's like, oh, wow, I think maybe I can do this again. And it just gets easier and easier the more you keep surrendering into what life has to offer.
Letting go gets easier. That's great.
Yeah, it is. Like, you don't go through the same dramas.
I'm going to use that.
Yeah. Good. I'm glad. The other thing that you hit on.
Very true.
It is true. It is absolutely. I'm finding that to be true in my life.
You said it was like, oh yeah, that's really true.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah. The other thing that you hit on was that idea of the purpose of being in relationship. Which is not so you become something else, but really so that you be more yourself.
Yes.
And if your relationship isn't doing that for you, then maybe, you need to tweak the relationship, or you need to tweak yourself or something, because really, I wonder, people who are together and they're so miserable, like, why?
Right.
Why?
I feel that I have different viewpoints about that.
Well, share.
What I mean by that is, I on this side, I see those folks who I have moved on, from the relationships, but I look back at those relationships and I can see how they would have been very different if I was different in them. Now, But on the other side of the coin, I really needed somebody like Ash to catalyze me, to want to be, become this person that I've become. And so I think there's that too. You got to want it. I mean, the one thing I've noticed about me in relationship is the only reason I've got as good a relationship as I do right now is because I want to be the best person I can be in this. I really want to do that for her and for me, but for her. And you need that. If you're not feeling that with the other person you're with, that you want to be the best person you can be for them, then it's harder.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that.
It's not impossible, but it certainly is harder if you're somehow not, drawn to wanting that for the other person, to bring your best for the other person. And to be honest, Ash is the first one who's brought that out in me, where I, for her sake, want to be my best. And that isn't to say I couldn't have done that with the others, but it's easier when you wanna.
I'll just add to that something else we were recently talking about is, wanting to be the best version of yourself, your best self possible, bringing that forward. Also, when we're doing treatment or prayer, it's, we've both embraced that prayer as being full, flourishing life. And though we do that individually for ourselves, we also do that for our relationship. And having a vision for the relationship has really been like having a North Star that we're guided by, which has been incredibly powerful for us, because any decisions that we're making or anything that needs to be tended to, it's always under this, is this in our vision? Is this leading us to that, is this part of the full flourishing life, or is this taking us a little off course? So it's been super helpful to pray together, to play together, and be guided by that North Star.
I want to speak to something Ash just said as well. When we first started our relationship, our thoughts around visioning were very different than they are now. In the beginning, they were more like, let's find the specifics. And now we have both come to a place of, it's really about what is flourishing and thriving mean to us now, and knowing that will shift. And it allows an openness for what some stuff showing up beyond our imagination. We open up to larger possibilities because our visioning is not specific, except in the fact that what we vision for is full and flourishing. And then allow for the unlimited possibilities to show us what that looks like. I think too many people get stuck in visioning and treating for something specific that they're sure is what they will bring on the highest and best, when in fact, maybe it will and maybe it won't.
Yeah.
Because there's always something greater going on. And Ash and I have actually evolved that in our relationship, because it wasn't that way in the beginning. We both have really come to see that as we have moved along in our relationship.
Definitely.
Thank you. Yeah, I love that idea. And that's something I learned, I don't know, in a class early on, that you could vision for that, say it's a red convertible car, and you could get it.
Yeah.
But you didn't know that your insurance was going to go up, and you didn't know that, people would want to steal your car and all these other things. Now you're drawing all kinds of attention to yourself. And those were things that you got along with that, that specific vehicle, instead of thinking, well, what does that represent for me? So maybe that represents freedom. Maybe it represents feeling, confident. And so go for that.
That's
instead
right.
of going for the vehicle.
Right. Happy.
Yeah.
Go for happy.
Go for happy. Go for the
for happy. Stuff will show up that actually makes you happy, instead of getting something you thought would make you happy that in the end doesn't.
Right. Exactly. Give the universe, some space to create your highest.
You happy. Let the universe give you happy.
Yes. So one of the reasons I specifically asked you guys to do this was because of your ministry. So there's so many ways we can, talk about that. But the idea you live together, you minister together, there's a lot of togetherness in that. But but I also want you to talk about your film ministry and how that uses your talents and skills and how you've come together on that. And then I want to show one of your videos.
I would love to start with this because,
honey, why don't you start with
well, under being open to the universe, letting the universe have its way with giving us or creating the full flourishing life that we're desiring. Partway into our relationship, he gets a download. I need to go to film school. So he's a minister. He's graduated ministerial school. He's a minister. And we're together, and now this comes. I need to go to film school. Like, okay. You have a yes to that. That's your knowing. Yep. Okay, then that's what we got to do. We got to trust. So he did. He went to film school. And me and my background, for a long time, acting and being an actress for decades, that was my path. That's the path that I thought I would. But something always was niggling at me that it wasn't exactly the thing. But anyway, over time, it became clear to me to become a practitioner, and now I'm on the path of minister. But going back to that idea that I had to let go of, that you can't have it all. This was another example of that. Like, how do I bring the love for acting, the love for singing, the love for creating stuff, my activism and my spirituality and my coaching? What context can I bring all of this in? And this is what has occurred where I feel I'm bringing my full self, every part of me, just because of that question. I think it was a powerful, just a curious living question that I was living with that was part for me what led us into our ministry that we have now with Spiritworks. So
I love it. I love it. Do you want to add anything to that, Cliff?
We took a vacation up in
Ashland.
Ashland. We're up in Ashland, and Ash says, why don't we start making little videos to open up your talk each week about whatever your talk is?
That was a download, by the way. It wasn't something that I strategically came up with. Total download.
And so my talk for that week was called Little Steps. And we were, as she's saying this, we're actually walking past a stairway. And so I said, well, okay, get on the stairway and walk up one step and then turn around and go da-da. And so she does that and I film it. And so that was the very first one we ever did. And so for a few weeks, we start, doing these tiny little introduction videos to my talks, which then I got an idea for doing something a little larger and then doing something a little larger until all of a sudden we're doing these short films that are getting entered into festivals and putting them up on YouTube. And we just had one of ours pass 190,000 views. And we got several others that are in the 20,000, and all of a sudden things are starting to get noticed. One of our films, Exonerated, made it to the finals of a BET featured sponsored festival on Black culture.
Nice.
It's about a white cop who shoots and kills a Black unarmed teenager, and so that's and then we started getting into the idea that social justice issues is really something I want to make sure. So we made films. We made a transgender film. We made a couple of race films. We made a film on cancer being a blessing. We've done our best to hit as many LGBTQ, as many issues that felt important. One of my favorites we made is actually of How Did You Create That? Which is a parody on what we say to people when they're down that we should never say to people. And it's always bothered me that people do that, would actually turn to somebody who's like emotionally distressed and go, well, how did you create that? Well, we made a film about it.
Yeah.
So,
I love it. There's such a great variety too in what you're doing. I mean, some of them are really funny and kind of campy, and then other ones are more serious, and they just have all different tones. I mean, there's a lot of variety and a lot of great nuggets of wisdom and insight in them. Just think you're doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you want to add anything, Ash?
I just think it's so incredible to be able to combine all of our various, aspects of who we are in a way that reaches so many people because of the video platform and what we can do now, that we can just it's almost like our ministry there's no walls to it. We have our brick and mortar, beautiful congregation, and then there's this on top of it that just gets to go out into the world. It just feels so incredibly good.
It is. It's amazing. I don't remember. Maybe Cliff knows the number for Centers for Spiritual Living when we say we want to touch this many lives. Do you remember what the number is?
100 million.
100 million. 100 million. Well, videos like yours hitting, almost 200,000 is a pretty good. It's taken us there. Yeah, we're on our way. We're definitely on our way. So I think I'm gonna show your most recent one on Black Lives Matter.
Awesome.
I've got that one. So that's a good news one. And I think let me see if I can pull this thing up here. Hopefully this technology will work beautifully. It's not the app window, it's the Chrome tab, and it is this one. All right.
Here's this week's good news. I have seen my mom struggle to reach this point my entire life. To see her fulfill this dream and then for us to fulfill it together, it's really a dream come true. Change your thinking, change your life. Change your life, change the world. I feel like this is a great time to be in medicine because, like I said, it's an awakening. We're going to get to be a part of the solution to some of these huge, huge problems that have been plaguing our country for centuries. We can change the world! Just because people put limitations on us, you don't have to be defined by those limitations. It doesn't matter what your age is, how you look, what your financial status is. Dreams are important, and it's important to pursue those dreams and not give up. Be the change you wish to see.
At just 9 years old, Cameron Johnson is the face of change.
We are making bracelets and giving them right to the people in Minneapolis.
With the help of her friends, Cameron's idea has raised more than $30,000, money they plan to use to help businesses in Minneapolis, including those affected by looting and those out of work or struggling during these uncertain times.
If you're not part of the solution, then you are part of the problem.
It all started with a Facebook post after Tammy Rivera gave a tired nurse an Uber ride home from Methodist Germantown Hospital. Tuesday, Tammy will deliver meals for the 60th straight day to weary nurses and doctors in the COVID-19 unit. The only thing holding her back was the reliability of her car.
Kind of like a box of chocolates. I never knew what I was going to get when I started the car.
Tammy didn't know the surprise that awaited her when she was featured on the Mother's Day episode of Jada Pinkett Smith's Red Table Talk show. The Smith Family Foundation did something incredible.
We want to purchase for you an eco-friendly car, a brand new one. We're stronger together.
sort of just thought, well, if he stays here, he's not going to make it. So I just went under, scooped him up, put him on my shoulders, and sort of started marching towards the police thing. While I was thinking to myself, if the other 3 police officers that were standing around when Joyce Floyd was murdered had thought about intervening and stopping their colleague from doing what he was doing, like what we did, George Floyd would be alive today still.
One love.
Always been satisfied. You knew our families, we knew your families before you, and we just want to say thank you.
So amazing.
You don't have to do great. Just get off your ass and do something. Because that's better. And better is better.
Better is better.
We'll have another episode next week, so please subscribe right here.
Shut this off. How cool is that? I love it. I love it. I just kudos to you. I just thinking of how much work that must be, and to be running your center at the same time and have this whole other ministry. I don't know how you do it, but hats off to you.
Yeah, I'll tell you, I do it because how do I explain this? I have to. I mean, these things come to me to do. You should hear my latest idea. I'm not going to share it, but of what we're doing next. But it's these ideas come to me, and then I got to do them, and I got to run the center. So I got to do both, but because I got to do them, they're in me to get out and get done.
Yeah.
I'm a heterosexual white guy who grew up wondering what cause was I going to take on in my life, and never really feeling like I had one that was mine. And now I realize that humanity is my cause. I don't need to be black to take on the black cause. I don't need to be Hispanic or a child being abused. I need to know that. And I saw a great post about this, that racism will end when white people see it as a white issue instead of a black issue that they have to have empathy for. And I was a white person having empathy instead of realizing that they were my issues as part of humanity. And that's what's really shifted for me around making these films. And Ash is incredible in all of them. She's like the perfect person to put in these films.
She really is. I debated about whether to show that one or another one, because the other ones feature Ashley more prominently. But with this being my recent one, and your latest one, and with the issue being so on everybody's minds, I thought I'd go with that. But I did put it up here for people to subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Like Ashley says, down here. No, it's that way, right?
Yeah.
Right. There's so many different videos, and they're all really good. I love the one on intuition. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, thanks.
Exonerated was they're all really good. And they're only a few minutes, which is great. You catch people with that within that 5-minute period of time, because we know people are busy and they're looking and going, oh, wait a minute, that's 8 minutes. I don't know if I have 8 minutes, right?
True.
But most people have 5 or less to take a listen.
And Christian Sorensen told me he's got if it's over 5 minutes, he actually has to put it in his planner to watch one of them.
Right.
5 minutes, he can catch it anytime during the day.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And what is it like for you, Ashley, now to bring all of these pieces together? Like your dream life.
Oh gosh, heaven, heaven on earth, which
What's
is of
next?
course what we're all standing for.
What's next for you guys? Do you know? The next video or next project? Or I know Ashley's in ministerial school.
Yes, I'm in ministerial school. I'm growing my coaching business at the same time, which those go together. I bring the consciousness of ministry, and being a practitioner into my coaching work. So that's been fun. I'm going to be speaking on another summit pretty soon about love. So that's coming up for me.
She's already been on 2 or 3. Which is it, honey? You've been on a couple of summits already.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She's becoming quite the speaker.
Awesome. And your video, Cliff, you were talking about that was being submitted for I don't remember if it was an award, but one of those special showings, the longer one you just did. No, you're looking confused.
Well, we're the one. There's one I'm still editing.
Okay.
It's about a minister who, because he backed gay marriage, is killed.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm in the middle of editing that one. And then just today I came up with an idea for another short one, an under 2-minute one that I really don't want to talk about what it is.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No spoilers. No spoilers. All right. Well, people are going to subscribe, and is there a way for them to donate to your ministry from there as well?
Yes, please do.
Yeah.
Go to our website, spiritworkscsl.org.
Yeah. Donate. So we want to hit that 100 million people.
Yeah.
Right. 100 million people. We're part of that.
Yes.
Definitely part of that.
Right.
All right. Well, I'm going to see which one of you wants to pray us out.
Ash, she's in the praying mood today. She did a great job.
I am. Gosh. Okay.
Thank you both for being with us.
Oh, thank you for having us. What a delight and pleasure. Oh, so yes, just taking in a divine, glorious breath. And knowing that there's only one power, one love, one good going on, one beauty, one light. And I know that I am this one, and I know that each one of us is so blessed, that each one of us who's gathered together today for this beautiful service, that we are blessed by each other, by each other's presence, by Reverend Cindy's leadership and her beauty and grace and all she brings. What a blessing this has been to be together. And just knowing that we go forth into our lives today, uplifted, inspired, rejoicing, knowing that our desires and dreams matter and are unfolding every moment. And I'm so grateful for all of this truth, and knowing all of this is so. I just release my word into the law, knowing it is done, and so it is.
So it is.
And so it is. Beautiful. Thank you.
Before we go, I just want to say I've been reading all the comments. I have no idea how to add to them, but thank you all for your wonderful, wonderful comments. The dog, by the way, is from Betsy Haas. Betsy Haas. She's the one who puts the little dog pieces in there. For those
nice. Awesome. I see Ashley's imdb.com. Your film is there. Did you see that?
Yeah. Yeah, it is. That's right.
Yes. Let me see if there's any other awesome comments. Issues as part of humanity. Look at that.
Teresa's on there.
Oh.
Yeah, Teresa's lots of fun folks on here. Rick Allen once had a red convertible.
Rick Allen.
That's awesome. So I want to invite you to join us after this. We're going to go into the Zoom room for anybody that wants to chat. We get kind of caught up with our congregation and with whoever was watching that wants to ask questions or just, give you a little love. You're welcome to join us.
What's the link to the Zoom room?
Let's
Where's
see.
the-
Let me see if maybe Richard will put that in here for us. If not, it will be on the Facebook, but I'll send it to you guys.
Yeah, just email it to
Sure,
us.
it will be added here. All right. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Love you guys.
Oh, love
Great
you
fun.
too.
Thank you. All right. Oh, I love that. That was so much fun. Let's go. So it is time for us now to celebrate giving. And let's see, and we do our little affirmation here. And let me put it for people that want to donate to the Center for Spiritual Living Ocala. Let me put that ticker tape here. Yes, yes, we so appreciate everybody who's been giving to the center. It allows us to do the work that we do, and we so appreciate everybody's giving, whether you're giving of your time, your talents, your treasure. We so appreciate it, and it goes to good use. I assure you of that. So all you do to text to tithe is you call that phone number. You don't call the phone number, you text the number, and you text the amount that you want to tithe. And you put that number in there, you hit send, and it goes right from your bank account into ours. It's a beautiful thing. And as I said, we really appreciate it. So I will do our affirmation that we do it as we share our gifts. And read it, say it to yourself, but more importantly, feel it. It is the nature of life to give of itself. As it is the tree's nature to bear fruit and the flower's nature to bloom, it is my nature to share the gifts of my time, talent, and treasure. I participate in the divine flow of life, giving generously and receiving abundantly. I am blessed and I am a blessing. I am so grateful. And yes, indeed, I am so very grateful. And I want to leave you with an affirmation for today. We come up with these affirmations. This one is actually from Centers for Spiritual Living. The theme for the larger organization was mindfulness. And so every action I take emerges from knowing my oneness with all and serves the highest good. I'm going to say that again because I think it's just beautiful. Every action I take emerges from knowing my oneness with all and serves the highest good. And so it is. And let's get rid of this here. Oops. All right. So what's going on at the Center for Spiritual Living? Be on the lookout on the Facebook chat. We'll be advertising it. We're going to be showing a movie next weekend, Sunday evening. Let me look at the date. I think that's July 5th. We'll be doing it probably about 6:30. We'll be showing 13th as a group. The link will be in the message or as we create the event. And after watching the movie together, we will have a discussion about it. So 13th is about the 13th Amendment, and it goes over, it's a documentary that shares about some of the issues, historical issues that have led up to where we are with the racial strife that we are dealing with in this country. It's a very, very powerful film. It's kind of disturbing, but it's, I think, a must-see. So we will be showing that again next weekend. Be on the lookout for that invitation. And there'll be other movies showing after that, but we're going to start with 13th. And I think that's probably it for me. So for those of you who would like to join us in the Zoom conversation, we'd love to have you. I'm going to go ahead and close this out with our prayer for protection. Say this again to yourself, or just listen to me say it. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us, and the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Do join us next week when our guests are Donna Davis and Norma Anderson. We're going to talk about their trip to New York and what insights they gleaned, and talk about all the amazing things they experienced while they were there. And you'll hear about the amazing difference that they made while they were working with nurses and working with patients right there at the epicenter of the COVID infection. So anyway, I hope you all have a fabulous week. I look forward to seeing as many of you as want to join us on Zoom, and I hope you have a great week. Love you all. Take care.